Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Shield Hero, Season 4.
Yep, Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 11. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. One of the two of us had the windshield on their car cracked today and is super pissed off. Can you guys guess who it is? It's me. Spoilers. But anyway, we're back for more Anime Night in the dojo. I apologize if I'm a little off, but again, even after doing my dress up darling and stuff like that, I'm still just... It's one of those things you got to sleep off. Because it happened in a really stupid way that could have been prevented, and it wasn't my fault. It was somebody else's fault that shouldn't have been touching my car. So, yeah. Anyway. Something we wanted to talk about, and I made it the still of last week. Continuity error. You guys see what that is right there? That is the Bow Hero's hand, and we got his heads-up display. Now, this isn't a big deal. I could potentially let it pass a little bit, but they made a big deal about it in the first season, so we're going to make a slight deal about it. For those of you who don't remember, each one of the Cardinal Heroes is from Japan. A different Japan.
Yep.
You know, like Earth 137, and 145, 252, and 855, whatever. And they all had similar experiences, but they were all different from different places, not the same form of reality. So when they all came to this world, they said that their HUDs looked like an MMO HUD that they recognized.
Yeah, the whole thing was they all got there different ways. Naofumi read the book, and the other three got pulled into different games that they were playing. And so Naofumi's HUD is based off of like the font of the book and stuff like that, whereas their HUDs are all based off of the HUDs of their games. So
Yep.
They all see different HUDs, and that was like a very main established thing within the first few episodes of the series.
Yep. Now, while we didn't see the HUDs of any of the other heroes until now, it's a minor continuity error that is kind of hilarious to point out.
Yeah.
Do I really care? No. But it's still funny to point it out and be like, hey man, you guys said that they all saw something different, and that's just Naofumi's HUD, okay?
Yeah, I noticed this last episode, but I forgot to bring it up.
Yeah, it was the thing that you forgot to bring up, and I was like, I'll just screenshot it. It's a completely different screenshot of the week. We can do it. It's, whatever. So...
Yeah, here we are, seasons later, and either the animators or the author forgot. Don't know who.
Don't know. Yep. So, hey, you guys, if you guys want to retcon that frame, by all means. We found it. I'm sure other people found it, thought about it. If we're the only ones who thought about this, I want a statue in our honor for minor pettiness in some random town in the Midwest. Maybe like Winchesterton, Fieldville, Iowa. Yeah. That'd be a good place for that.
I want Cartman's freaking medal.
You want Cartman's medal? Yeah, we could get Cartman's freaking medal. Yeah. Maybe a news story about us getting a freaking medal or a freaking statue, and maybe Seth freaking Rollins can present it to us. So, anyway, that aside, we're getting ready for Zodia to one-on-one Raftalia, and the Fox woman is just evil and a bitch. We need explanation. We went over that last time. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, just like I promised I wouldn't talk about the other stuff. So that's where we're at. Based on the fact that the freaking title of the last episode of the season is what it is. I'm not going to say it just in case people haven't seen it, but it's right there on Crunchyroll. You've seen it. It's, that episode came out 10 days ago now at this point. So you've probably seen it if you're keeping up with it, not doing like a series like we are. But no Phoenix at all. Probably not at all. Maybe at the end of next episode be like, all right, so this is what we're doing for the Phoenix. I mean, we got a little bit of it last week when they talked about the monsters getting ready and the alchemist chick getting ready and stuff like that, which again, I'd like to see more of her character. I found her interesting. Sports Center app, the ESPN app thinks she's interesting. That's why it went off. It's probably because the baseball game's over. But if you're a Mariners fan, you're stoked right now in real time. They beat the Blue Jays 3-1. But anyway, as for that, I'm just I'm ready for this season to be over. They talk about like filler and like Naruto and Bleach and stuff like that. There is no excuse for this. For me. And I'll talk about it a little bit more when we do the season wrap up next time. And I don't like to belabor the point, but I'm pissed off today. Okay? So blood pressure is high. Luckily, I usually have low blood pressure, so this isn't really going to affect me. But me being pissed off today just exacerbates this situation and how perturbed I am about this season of Shield Hero.
Yeah, no, freaking. This is definitely turning out to be the Bount filler, not the Living Zanpakuto filler.
Yeah. So
But
bad
yeah.
that the gacha game didn't even include it. The Bount stuff, not the Living Zanpakuto stuff. Anyway, so we're here. Stuff's gonna happen. It could be cool. Very Power Rangers. Hopefully that saves it. The Japanese aesthetic has saved it for me. I really Sakura Lumina and stuff like that. All this the aesthetic stuff. But other than that, you know, it is what it is. We've talked about it. So let's just go ahead, push some buttons, see what's up with this week, and then talk about it. So people on Patreon, we'll get the timer stuff set up for you here in a second, and we'll see you on the other side of that edit for that if you're on Patreon. And if you're on YouTube, you'll see doing the discussion and review on the other side of the edit as per usual. So, or if you're new, that's how we do it. So anyway, let's go ahead, push some buttons, and see what's up with this week. So here goes something before I punch through my monitor.
Punch through your dashboard.
Well, alrighty then. This was something. I'm not going to talk about it a whole hell of a lot because this removed my good mood that my dress-up darling put me into. So clearly we're doing these in the wrong order, but we're 11 weeks deep and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not changing the schedule other than the fact that this is definitely going to be on a Monday because Monday is one of our usual days and Sakamoto Days wrapped up last week. So you're watching this on Monday as opposed to the usual Sunday that this has been, but I had to move this for the schedule to make more of the sense because Saturday and Sunday are our extra days and Tuesday is like the hyper holy crap extra day. But anyway, as for this, is just what is it with leadership and elders and stuff like that just being hyper incompetent? It's like Sedina bailed on us, so we're gonna have another kid to replace her. It's like, don't you have a whole clan? Why does it have to be her? And then to force her into this stuff, it's like, can you believe the sisters are different? Can you guys believe that the sisters aren't identical in every way possible? That's crazy. You know what I mean? That you guys can give Endeavor shit for having a designer baby, but can you believe that none of them were the same? Not at all. You know what I mean? It's like, are you serious? Really? Like that's like, can you fathom like having a child and they're like a prodigy in something, and like they're 5 or something, and they're like the next Beethoven or something, and they're like rolling around like becoming the next like piano guy of the world and like dominating, and then it's like, all right, let's have another kid and do it again. Are you serious? Do you want to know what the odds of that are? Like, I can't even fathom. Like, maybe we could bust out the classic C-3PO thing. Never tell me the odds that he gives. It's probably somewhere crazy like that. You know what I mean? It's probably worse than those odds. I think it was the odds of the asteroid beat that he was talking about was only like 50,000 to 1. That's not that bad. There is no way that this is 50,000 to 1. We're probably talking about a couple 100 trillion to 1 that happens. That your two children that are multiple years apart are going to be identical in every facet. Are you serious?
Down
to personality and skills and everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with Sedina and Zodia here, it seems like it's been at least a decade, if not multiple decades, since Sedina left.
Because Sedina had to become the Miko, do all the terrible things she had to do as the Miko, and then leave. Which, again, let's clear something up about leaving somebody. You can't leave something that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
You know, you could maybe make the argument if, like, parents were pregnant and whatever. In this case, Zodia would have had to have been aware of her and had to have, like, actual interactions with her for, like, leave. Like, Itachi left Sasuke after murdering the entire Uchiha clan. Sasuke was born at that point. He was done stuff. They had a relationship. This is not that. You can't leave something that doesn't exist. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, as far as Sedina was concerned, she was just getting herself out of an abusive family situation.
Yep.
And then, yeah, she was not aware that she had a sister, even.
Yep. And that's something I speculated on. Like, oh, it's probably going to be something like that. You know, it's not the weird left turn, left field. Akira's aunt is Sakamoto's classmate. They did the aunt thing. They were like, well, what if it's the aunt and it's something weird? That was like the weird choice, and it happened to be what it is. So, but in this case, I was like, this is a SHIELD hero. Let's be real here. They don't even remember their own freaking lore about the HUD. So come on. Where's our freaking medal? It hasn't shown up yet. I thought it'd be here by now. So, anyway, the action sequences were there. They were action sequences. Nothing over the top, nothing impressive. Not that anything in this show has been super impressive animation and execution-wise. There are cool still visuals and stuff like that, and cool names of abilities that you can shout out to try to sound cool. But other than that, you know, it's standard affair for this show. So that's, you know.
Season 1 had some pretty good fight scenes in it, and animations and whatnot. Season 2 also had less, but it still did have some reasonably good ones, like a lot of the other world shenanigans with the other heroes and whatnot. Starting with Season 3 and now into Season 4, it's just like they basically just stopped trying.
It's like they're trying to meet a quota or something. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's kind of a bummer because the premise and the originality and stuff like that of the series that we've talked about was really good, and now we're here. So it doesn't even look like we're going to get any hint of Phoenix this season. With Age looking at the source material and saying, yeah, there's probably a possibility. Based on what's happening right now, there's no way. They have to resolve the super pissed off, now returned Emperor that was inside a fucking card because, you know, one of the freaking, you know, Shadow Games people put him in a card, like a Yu-Gi-Oh card or whatever happened with that. So they're able to like save in the serious what's happening here. They're able to save memories of certain items and certain things into card form, and I guess it's not limited to just items. It can be people and their souls and stuff.
Well, yeah, apparently it's a thing of like they imprint a part of a person's soul onto the card via an item that they like spent a lot of time around and whatnot, like something that's like symbolic to them. Like in this case, she was using weapons. But yeah, presumably what happened here was basically the previous emperor suspecting something was up, did what Zodia did, where it's just like she preemptively put a soul imprint on a card and then left the card somewhere that only the Miko would find it.
Right.
And basically just waited to until some Miko would activate the card and allow her to come back and take over their body.
Yep. So, once again, when Rafi, being the one of all things, we talked a little bit about that at the end of the reaction, that is what it is. She can be the magic sensor, that's fine, but it's just weird for this situation. I'm all for Rafi still being relevant beyond her being the mascot and her original intended use. That's fine. For this situation, she's not from Cute and Low. Yes, she is tied to Raftalia, who is from here, but it's still whatever. I have a problem with that.
Rafi being the thing that like figures stuff out isn't wrong. Like it can be the thing, but once again, they should have just had Galleon here for this, because Galleon, at least he has his connection with the water dragon that he could be like obtaining this information from, rather than Rafi just kind of intuitively just knowing what it is automatically.
Right. And when she mentions like, oh, there was something fuzzy, I was like, okay, this is Machina making her play, right? Not even close.
It was
So-
freaking.
It's yeah. Yeah, we all saw it. I mean,
Yeah, basically just what happened here was just they were fighting. It was Zodia being Zodia the whole time, but the fuzzy thing was the previous Emperor's soul entering her body and then mid-fight hijacking it. And that's why at this point her personality shifts and she doesn't recognize that Alphemy's even there until after she comes out of it.
yep. So I don't know. If we get literally nothing on Machina, this, like Dage said, she might as well just be Dr. Evil without the massive comedy, obviously.
Once again, Dr. Evil is both more evil and more nuanced than she is at the same time.
Yeah, so I got nothing. Like, I immediately was like, oh, Fuzzy, Machina's making her play. She's going to do like an Orochimaru thing, trying to steal Sasuke's body or something, right? Something to that effect. We've all seen other characters do something like what Orochimaru was trying to do with Sasuke and, you know, all the other characters he was trying to pull that on. Something like that. And then he just turned out to be a random guy in the background of the end of the series and was drinking in places. It was weird. But, you know, still, I thought that was going to be the play and it would have been something for her, but she's still just what she was. So we got one episode to figure that out potentially, because by God, if we backtrack to that at some point after we're supposed to be doing something else, I got nothing. But honestly, I'd be surprised if season 5 is confirmed anytime soon. But this is Katakawa. It's one of the major Isekai Quartet shows, which Isekai Quartet is coming back here relatively shortly. So, and the Dead Worlds from the Waves could be the major sticking point to what's going on in Isekai Quartet, because everything in Isekai Quartet is canon to every single one of the shows tied to it. Maybe not the new one, like the one that's being added, Eminence of Shadow, I believe.
Eminence and Shadow. I don't know if the Eminence and Shadow author has signed off on the whole like making their show part of the multiverse, but presumably they did if they were willing to accept allowing Sid to be put into freaking Isekai Quartet, because that's kind of the whole shtick of that show, is that they all share the same universe.
Yep. So I wish I had a way to just, I mean, I could edit it obviously, but I don't. It's not really worth it. But every time the Crunchyroll player goes and does this, I wish it would just be the Naofumi face that I'm just going to use for everything now. Like when I reference crap like this, it's like, I'm doing the Naofumi face, you guys, since it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so far, best two things that have came out of this season is freaking Motayasu's Bizarre Adventure and the Naofumi face.
Yeah. And the fact that I thought I saw suggestive violence at the beginning of this episode, I thought that said suggestive violence. I was like, we know they like to make stuff up, but really suggestive violence? But it's suggestive dialogue then violence. So yeah, it's definitely there. But still, I was like, man, now I kind of want a show to be tagged with suggestive violence. What constitutes suggestive violence, you guys? Let's figure it out. That's the more interesting to me of this whole thing, is me just misconstruing that tag. So, it's just, I don't know. We'll just have to see where this goes. Obviously, the Emperor's potential, the Emperor that's back, based on all these guards foaming at the mouth and running away like that freaking dude from Kyoshi Island in The Last Airbender. But, she has to be like a ancestor of Raphtalia's of some kind or something, right? Because
yeah, we know Raphtalia's part of the royal family, so presumably she has blood relation even to the current emperor.
Yep. So
they're probably like cousins or something.
Yeah. But and again, androgynous emperor. Now
yeah,
it's he okay. But whatever.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this character supposed to be being in genderless or anything like that. But yeah, Zodia definitely was referring to the Emperor as she last episode, and now Machina is referring to them as he.
Yep. So, whatever. This isn't one of those nuanced things where they actually would say Empress. You know, it's no different than calling a female officer in the army sir. You know what I mean? That's more common than
Yes.
calling them ma'am. It's just sir. That's straight across the board. And it's just the term.
Cool. Even going back to like the original use of sir as a knightly thing, sir is still a unisex term.
Yeah.
The reason why most people associate it with male is because basically all knights were male,
Yeah.
but there are still female knights, and they're still referred to as sir.
Yeah. So, you know. But either way, this was what it was. I even hesitate to say it'll be interesting to see what happens here, like I usually do, but I just don't care anymore. I don't. Really. Yeah, on top of me being aggravated today, this was the last freaking thing I needed, was having a character built up with some mystique and maybe a potentially okay... Like, Machina's story only had to be just okay to be passable, and I could live with it. But if it's just, yeah, she was a bitch, and that's all it is, what's the point of that character?
Yeah, no, like, as it seems right now, she's just... But the only thing we got of her this episode is she's taking the royal treasury and trying to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then getting a rock dropped on her head.
So she was like the like ominous silhouette of what was happening at the end of last season. You know what I mean? She was the it wasn't even silhouette. It was like her figure and not her face. You know what I mean? And we saw like her from behind, that kind of thing. And we saw her like hair and whatnot. She was like the ominous thing. And it's just like, that's your ominous character? Fish food? That's your ace in the hole? You're not even going to have the freaking hilarious Family Guy segment. You know what I mean? So if we really don't get like anything for her, that's astounding to me. I can't fathom that was how it was originally written. And if it was, then maybe that's why the authors and writers blocked town for the last 4 years and made some questionable decisions after this. So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said,
I can't speak on that because I don't know, but I know some things.
The author has made some really questionable decisions and gotten a lot of backlash for some of them. And now they're just kind of absent, but saying the series is still ongoing.
Yep. So real bummer. Obviously, you know, I don't want to see stuff like this fail. I'm not rooting for people to fail ever, unless they're like total assholes. Obviously, I think we know certain people that I've mentioned recently that will remain nameless that I'm rooting actively against because the internet on the whole would be better without them. But, you know, in general, I'm not rooting against anybody to fail, like especially in a situation like this. It's like, I just want it to be good, you know? I'm not expecting greatest of all time material out of everything that comes out, and we've talked about that before. And even an arc like this would have been fine for everything we talked about before. So, you know, it is what it is. If I wasn't so super dead and just wanting to pass out, I would literally just turn and look at Age and say, we're watching the last episode right now just to get it over with right now. I don't want it to be part of our last wrap-up week. Just, you know what I mean? And we're not dropping the show. If it does season 5, we're going to do it because of all the Isekai Quartet stuff and all the Katakawa stuff we do. But just for right now, I just really want to be done with it. So we might, if we have time, because we still got to do Peacemaker in our next recording session, I might just say, let's finish this shit right now. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow when I wake up. It's not going to be able to finish Peacemaker tonight. But yeah, it's aggravating, you know? And obviously I'm a little bit more aggravated based on my whole windshield thing that I talked about, but it's still just aggravating, you know, because for these kind of series, and it helped me get more into anime and stuff like that. And like I said, I prefer it to succeed and stuff like that. But then you get these questionable decisions and stuff like that from potentially the studio. I don't know. I don't have the source material knowledge for this like I do for like My Dress Up Darling. And like I said, I want to have at least one show a season where I can be like, I know everything. So what have they changed? What have they added? This was stupid to change. This was stupid to remove. Are they just coloring in the lines and bringing it vibrantly off the page like they are with My Dress Up Darling? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be real about it and objective. You know. So anybody watching the Dress Up Darling stuff, why do I have glowing reviews? Because the source material is very good, and they're not deviating, and they're just elevating. That's all you need to do with an anime. That's all you have to do. So I don't know if that's what's going on with this, obviously, because I don't have source material knowledge, so I'm never going to speak on something that I don't know. So that is what it is. But it just feels off. That's all I can say.
I don't really have much context for this situation, but like I said, I do have some source material knowledge, and the author has been very dubious for a while now.
Yep. And I'll tell you guys this much. At a certain point, I might have time where I could just have like reading material up next to me while I'm doing other things, and this will probably be the first thing I start reading from start to finish, or start to wherever it stops, just for the context.
Yeah, like you brought it up, but this was one of like the original batch of shows that I showed you to like start this whole getting you into like actively watching anime.
Yep, because I used to watch it, just for context, for a little bit of extra here at the end. It was about 5 years ago now that Age and I started not doing the YouTube stuff. It's only been about 3.5, 4 years for that. But we started watching stuff like JoJo's, this, Don Machi, season 1 was one of the original ones. Slime, that was another one. But it was just one of those things that I was like, yeah, and this is the kind of show and series that made me want to do YouTube. You know what I mean? And why we still do YouTube, no matter what's happening. You know what I mean? And it's one of the ones that we want to do to put it on the channel and not just watch on our own time. You know what I mean? Because for everything we do for the channel, there's probably about an equal or slightly lesser that we watch on our own time. It's probably about equal. Every season we probably watch, the 4 or 5 shows that we do per season. We probably watch 2 or 3 just on our own and see like, would this have been good maybe to add for next time? Kind of like Dan to Dan. We knew Dan to Dan was going to be big, but we didn't have any inkling that it would be that big, so we didn't do season 1. And then we watched it and we're just like, okay, it lived up to the hype, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have any source material knowledge. Had we read the source material, we probably would have done it, but we're not in that boat currently. So
yeah.
Either way, again, for now, I really just want to be done with it. It will be what it is. She has to be related to Raphtalia. We'll probably be getting that next time. Hopefully the last episode here just closes the chapter on the cute and low stuff, and we can hopefully, if there's a season 5 anytime soon, we just go back to what we talked about before with the Phoenix stuff and moving on with the waves and the actual series. So
yeah, once again, the story arc immediately after this is supposed to be the Phoenix. So I imagine next season we'll just start with it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm kind of a mixed opinion on the Emperor thing. Like, on the one hand, it is just kind of like, oh, well, we're just doing this now, apparently, and giving up on Machina. But on the other hand, we haven't done anything with Machina really yet. And the Emperor does have a lot more potential lasting as a thing. The fact that she's still around in this spirit card form means we could potentially see her more later, even if they get Zodia's body back immediately.
Yeah, which, again, the card stuff, that magic, interesting, absolutely. But, again, it's being introduced in a not great place. So, again,
yeah.
The aesthetic, all of the stuff in the background, all that stuff, totally fine still, all the stuff going on, but just everything we talked about. I'm not rehashing it. So, that's all I got for this week. I'll let you guys know if we immediately record it again the next day, because I think I'm going to do it. Unless there's just like no feasible time to do it. We'll do Peacemaker tomorrow and then just knock this out so I don't have to deal with it on another week. I'll just be super mad weekend here and we'll be done. Because I highly, highly doubt that it's going to suddenly do a 180 and be like, man, that was fucking awesome. Yeah. If it does, by all means, I will eat that hat, metaphorically.
I mean,
but
there definitely have been some shows or seasons where they put 90% of the budget into the finale.
yeah, it could happen. I'm not gonna dispute that fact, but I really kind of doubt it. If I'm proven wrong, cool. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm gonna get the hell out of here, you guys. So, Age, do you have anything else you wanted to put in here before I turn everything off and not kick the baby? Go see if our freaking medal is in the mail yet.
Don't kick the goddamn baby. But yeah, no, I don't really have anything else.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, people YouTube, beyond how you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo from our Anime Night in the Dojo. This was Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 11. Thanks for sticking with us through the ranting. I know it can be a little bit whatever, but was what it was this week. So have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.